Five, four, three, two, one. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin Direct Marketing Association and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Okay, well, we've got some big news today, as usual. Marketing news, global marketing news. Oops, that's not it. How did that get up there? Do I have a second one open? Yeah, I do. Oops. Well, we're going to get to that again anyway. Here we are, KitKat. KitKat celebrates Singapore-inspired flavors. This is so exciting. I hope this comes to the rest of the world. Good morning out there. I saw a good morning. That's good. I'm going to have to get this thing up higher so I can actually see it on a little. I'll put up a tripod or something so I can put my phone up in the air. But I did see a good morning. Anyway, I can't do it up. I got it like over here. I got to do it up here. I got to do it. Let's see. Yeah, we'll keep an eye out for comments. So anyway, KitKat I didn't know this, but KitKat is far more popular in Asia. And I'm not sure why. But they're going to have some limited edition. Oh, I guess my my enthusiasm, I was kind of looking for something like cinnamon or caramel, extra caramel, or maybe a little nutmeg, eggnog flavor. But it looks like it's going to be something like fish curry, which to me does not sound that great for KitKat. But, what do I know? Oh my goodness, isn't this great? Oh, maybe this is, yeah, with fish curry. Anyway, no, they're going to do a Mrs. Claus's fruitcake. That sounds good. I can handle that. Santa's gingerbread. I could handle that too. In addition, some exotic stuff like rose bang bandung, which doesn't sound too good in English. Well, anyway, so I think this will be fun. We'll have some new flavors. I hope that comes to America someday, right? But I just think that's great. What could be better than new flavors of Kit Kats? That's like the new flavors of M&Ms. I remember being on a plane with a marketing person from M&Ms telling me about the new caramel ones. Problem is that I'm basically off sugar. What kind of life is that? You work when you're a kid, you think, man, if I had money, I'd buy candy all the time. And then you get a little money and you get kids and they take it and you tell them you can't have candy all the time. And then you get old and even if you could, nobody's caring or watching. Still don't think it's a good idea. Okay, now here's the main good news today. I hope you saw this, but I talked about Sean Flynn's article on slashing healthcare, an alternative to massive government takeover, a completely different approach. And the best part is that the policies have been proven by Whole Foods, who's been doing it since 2002, I think, and the state of Indiana and Singapore, that they've got a way to basically fund not only health insurance, like by your employer, but also use an HSA, a health savings account, to cover the deductible that you have to pay. But the great part is that if you don't, needlessly use up your deductible, or you choose alternatives, then you get to keep the money that's in that HSA. After a year. So your deductible's covered, but you get to keep the cash. So that gets you consumer choice, which is crucial to market innovation. And a great illustration of that is LASIK eye surgery, which I talked about. It's down at the bottom of the page here, where it started at about $5,000 and now you can get it. I know you can get it for $500. I'm not saying you should go to the cheapest LASIK place, but the other thing that helped is transparent prices. Okay, so you need to make informed decisions a consumer makes better decisions about themselves. It's like if I said to you, go buy something for Sally for a Christmas present. And you said, well, I don't really know Sally that well. And I'll say, oh, that's okay. Here's $50. Do it from the office. And so you come back with a gigantic bunny or something. And, is it something Sally would buy for herself? No. And that's what happens when you have other people making decisions for you. Like for Father's Day, they got me these recliner lawn chairs. I don't want any more lawn chairs. I want to sell the house, get rid of the lawn. And I fought with them. I said, send them back to Amazon, and nobody would. And so they divvied them up because they wanted them. I didn't want them. They said, well, you loved these when you were borrowing Megan's. Yeah, I loved them when I was borrowing them, but I would never buy them for myself. How often do we sit out here in the mosquito-infested deck or the winter? It's basically, we've got two seasons in Wisconsin, winter and mosquitoes. And nobody listened. But that's the point. The point is you make better choices when you're involved and when it costs you something. And also, you make better choices when there's transparent prices. So while all of this great work has been going on in Congress about who thinks they know what President Trump was thinking, maybe they can read minds. I've never been able to, but it must be that. They're sure. The latest one I thought was really funny is that now asking someone to do something, and maybe there's a benefit to that person, is considered bribery. But that's not what. That's not the illegal part of bribery. The United States government does bribery all the time. What do you think foreign aid is? Foreign aid is just dumping money on people that we want to do what we want. That's not illegal for us. What's illegal is if someone takes the bribe and then makes weird decisions. And nobody's even saying that. So it's just hilarious. They were saying that never mind. It's all backwards and upside down. So while that's going on, the Trump administration is big news today, actually. The Trump administration releases a rule forcing hospitals and insurers to disclose negotiated rates or face fines. This was from CNBC. And they say the rule begins a new era in price transparency in healthcare. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar told reporters on a conference call, this shadowy system has to change. As I pointed out in my article I posted on LinkedIn, you can look it up. This covert pricing goes back to the 40s. Basically what happened was the unions got the car companies to pay for employee health care. And after that, no one cared about the price because I wasn't paying and I wasn't having to choose. I just want the best health care I can get. And it's gotten good health care in America. But the problem is there's no connection to cost, which isn't good, right? I'm getting a red square blinking on my stream, but it seems to still be working. Not sure. Not sure why. Anyway, so this may be the biggest news because back here it says we could save $2.4 trillion per year if we go to a system like this. And it's been proven by Singapore. And so here we go. And so I just wanted to say this is and the reason a marketing guy is talking about this, and I talked about this in my post yesterday, is that marketing is all about informed choices. And when third parties make the decisions and prices are hidden, you basically have no opportunity for competition. And there's not much for marketing to say because one of the big things marketing does is inform you about the price. One of the suggestions for the shorter Christmas season is make a big deal of your discounts. It's going to be earlier discounts. And that was in the news yesterday. So this is opening the door to price competitive marketing, and that changes everything. Got it? Price transparency plus individual decision making choice involvement is what marketers are looking for. We want to compete. We want to show you why our product is good. We want you to choose our product. You know, in the Soviet Union, there's a great, I've posted this a couple of years ago, I think, but there was a great Top Gear show where they said, did a communist country ever make a good car? You know, I was entrusted with driving the Yugo back to the dealership when they came to pitch, or they came to our pitch on why we would like to advertise the Yugo when it came to America back in the, that would be in the 1980s, late 80s. And I was driving this brand new Yugo, and I adjusted the rear view mirror, and it came off in my hand. And something else broke in the trunk on the way back, or the gas cap lid or something. It was just a piece of junk. So we declined to want the account after we drove the car. But the reason is because when you lived in Yugoslavia, you had to buy the Yugo. And when you lived in Russia, you had to buy the Monsterplatz or whatever it was called. And the Top Gear guys just laughed and laughed, and they said communism never built a good car because they didn't have to worry about consumer choice. Right? That's the deal. Marx hated the idea that 30% of a product price was wrapped up in advertising, marketing, and probably distribution, I would say too, you know, because he understood that. And he thought that was a total waste. If you could make a good product, then you could save a lot of money. If, you know, there was one brand of refrigerator, that should be good. One brand of stove. And so the factories in the Soviet Union weren't even graded on quality at all. They were graded on how much raw materials they bought. And so my brother, who lived over there for 15 years, he said, you know, you'd see piles of like piles of stuff around factories because they would pile up 90% of what it took to make something in big piles because they got incentivized for that. But they'd be missing a key bolt or something, and they couldn't even make the product, or they would make it without it, and it wouldn't even work. My sister went over there during or around the time of the Moscow Olympics. I think it was just after. And she went to the hotel, and, you know, the bar had all kinds of liquor. You know, that's capitalism. Anything you want, right? And you could only buy champagne or vodka, and only one brand of each. All the rest was just window dressing. She said the hotel had a bowling alley. None of the lanes worked. She asked the people there. They said no, they never worked. They were just for show. And she actually met with Christians who were in hiding, and she asked them, you know, she could shop at there were like expat shops. So Americans who were visiting Russia could go to these shops and say, oh yeah, look, everything's good. She said they wanted her to buy cassette tapes, little cassette tapes, blank ones, because she said the ones you get from the Russian store don't have enough magnetism to record anything. They look fine. They don't work. And this is what you get when you don't have price transparency and you don't have choice involvement. So this is huge news. This might be the biggest news in years, that we're going to try and break this system. That, you know, my healthcare has gone up fourfold in the last 6 or 7 years, you know, since the Affordable Care Act, we'll call it. It's double my mortgage. It's 4 times what I was paying just a few years ago. And so it's obviously broken. And it's so exciting how marketing is going to be involved in fixing this most broken part of the U.S. economy.